Greetings. I just wanted to do probably what maybe the first in the start of a series on learning to sew in general, not so much even just learning to sew head coverings and such, but there's a lot of sisters out there who's asked me for sewing advice, and one in particular is struggling because her mama won't teach her. So, and I know there's a lot of others out there like that who are wanting to learn, no matter what you're wanting to learn to sew. I think it's a good thing to pass on the skill. This particular video I want to focus on something I think it's very important, and something my mom is always getting onto me for, is keeping my machine clean. It's something I never used to care about, but when I got my newer machine, to me this is a very expensive machine. To some people it's a cheapo. It just depends on what your budget is. We had some money 2 or 3 years ago that my husband had from cashing in on a retirement thing, so it made us able to get this for me, and it really has been a blessing. It's a very nice machine for me. I always had a much cheaper Singer, and those are fine to learn to sew on, but where I sew all the time, it is nice to have a little nicer machine. But no matter whether you have a cheap Singer or a cheaper Brother to a very expensive Bernina or Baby Lock, whatever, ultimately you want your sewing machine to run very well, and to do that, one of the important things you got to do is keep it clean. When you get your machine, make sure you read through your manual, and probably not just once but several times. You really need to learn it. It will go a long way, and it will actually teach you a lot about sewing and some basic things just by reading your manual. A lot of people don't read manuals, and in a lot of things that's probably fine, but in this you really need to read it. But in general, cleaning your machine, it's really not that hard. You do want some brushes. A lot of times your machine will come with a little brush, and quite frankly it's usually very dinky. Even the one that came with this I thought was just kind of about useless. They can be good for getting in really small crevices, but ultimately you want some bigger brushes. My favorite is probably this one. It's just a simple paintbrush for, like watercolor. It's very good for that. This is also good for cleaning this in the serger. It is an old blush brush, so I'm sure a lot of you probably have these hanging around. I don't really wear makeup hardly at all anymore unless it's just at night for my husband, but this has been a very good sewing machine brush, so don't throw them out if you still happen to have one. But you do need to take things apart. Notice that I took my throat plate off, and I've taken out this part for the bobbin. The rest of the bobbin, I think I had it over here. I might have laid it aside. I've been trying to clean up here a little bit before doing this video. But you want to take and you want to go through and very gently brush and get your lint out. And make sure that when you're brushing your lint out that you're not poking it down in there. There's a big difference between just going at it and getting things poked down in there instead of brushing and trying to get and lift stuff out. You do not want to push dirt back into your machine. And that's also where they generally really don't recommend using cans of air. Those cans of compressed air like you can buy at the computer places or office supply places. You probably could get by with it for a while, but ultimately those things kick off chemical, and they're going to affect your machine over time. Even though they're not supposed to, but they will. And if a lot of sewing machine warranties, it's probably want to avoid them if you use that stuff. And it may ultimately not do a whole lot of damage, but it very well might. And personally, I wouldn't take a chance. I've done it in the past, but I'd never ever do it on my new machine, so just don't want to take that chance. But a brush is very safe, just as long as you're trying to clean it out and actually lift your lint out and not just poking stuff back in there. Get as much as you can. Make sure you take your machine apart when you clean it too. Sometimes they can be a pain to get back together. I find this little part here sometimes hard to get lined up just so, but you get the knack of it, and then eventually you will get it to where you have it down. On the Bernina, these just pop right off. you may have a machine that you have to actually screw that on and off. But I actually did that backwards. But if you do, just, you know, unscrew it and take it on off, because you'll be surprised, even if you don't use your machine that long, how much lint is just under here, under your feed dogs. There will be a lot of it, and I think a lot of it results from those feed dogs rubbing against the fabric. See, that just pops back on. And then somewhere around here I actually laid my bobbin part, and then that goes back in. And then you've got your machine all cleaned out. And the same with this, the same with the serger. Right here is my serger. Let me zoom back out because this is closer. Okay, well, we gotta move it. But here's the serger I have. My parents actually blessed me with this. And it's a nice one of those things that actually threads itself. But down in here, and I've already cleaned it out, but you can see there's lots of parts. And sergers, because they actually have this knife, will create a lot of lint. You really got to keep those clean. One very cool little gadget that I've come across is, and you can buy these on like eBay or Nancy's Notion, there's a little mini back attachment kit. One second and I'll show you mine. I just got one. They look like this. They've your hose, and you got the reducer, and it'll attach to any vacuum cleaner hose. And you got all your little mini attachments, and there's these little air holes to keep you from sucking too hard. You can kind of change the suction. This, I just got it. I think I paid $6 for it, something like that. They're not very expensive, and that will actually let you suck all of that lint out. They're also good for your computer, your keyboard, and all that fun stuff too. Definitely something I think I probably would recommend if you sew a lot, but you know, it's not, certainly not a have-to thing, just a little fun thing. But it is helpful to suck that lint out instead of blowing it around and pushing it back inside, especially not with a can of air. So just a little tip on cleaning the machines, and I'm sure I'll have other videos to come with learning how to sew, but this is one of the basic 101 things. Keep your machine clean. Have a blessed day.